Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm your host, Karen Yankovich, and I've got another Karen here with us today. Karen Coffey is the founder of Spirit-Led Masterminds. 7 years ago, she built a successful Inc. 500 company from being a homeless single mom, all through prayer, surrender, and learning to hear God's guidance. And her mission now is to equip others, you and me, right, for the supernatural business launches and financial breakthroughs that are there for them. So let me bring Karen here to this video with us. So welcome to the Good Girls Get Rich
Great to be
podcast,
here.
Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, it's all Karens today.
I
All
know.
Karens today.
A great name.
Yeah. It's an interesting time in the world to be named Karen too, right?
Yes.
But we won't go there. I think that we need to stand out even more confidently.
Absolutely.
So I am so excited to have you here today. You know, Karen, your bio I don't think does you justice. I know that when we talk, it talks a little bit about your Inc. 500 company, and you say that in a sentence, like you said, and I made spaghetti for dinner last night, right? Like that is, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So maybe tell us a little bit about, in your own words, the journey that, I know it's not a short journey, but the journey that you had that brought you to where you are here today.
Yeah. I won't start for when I was a small child.
You can if you need to hear that. You're all yours.
No. But it wasn't overnight success for sure. We did win the Inc. 500 2 years in a row, one of the fastest growing companies.
Amazing. That's amazing. Huge congratulations for that.
Thank you so much. It was a proud moment coming from where I came from as a homeless single mom. Of course, I was in the real estate industry selling real estate back in the banking crisis of 08, 09, 10, 11, and lost everything that I owned. And that included my home, my car. My son went to live with his father because mama wasn't making money. He wasn't paying child support. So I was in a really bad place. And I wasn't under a bridge, but I was living on the sofas of friends, that there really was no income. And I just was not prepared for that. And I just was in a fetal position at my home as the bank had come to just put chains on. And they let me get a couple things out, before. And my mother passed at that same time. She left me $8,000. I bought a clunker car and put everything in it, including my dog. And we went, and like I said, and stayed with some friends. When you are at that place, Karen, you're just like, I've got nowhere to go but up. But I just got on my knees. And I tell you, I was not a very spiritual person at the time, but that kind of impact in your life will make you get like religious real quick. And I'm not religious, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, and it's not that long ago.
No, right? Well, it was 2000 when they took the house. I think it was 2009.
Right. So that's 15, 16 years ago. That's not that long ago.
It was not when I was a baby. It was 15 years ago or so. And I got on my knees and I said, I don't even know if you exist. I don't even know. But I started praying to a God I didn't even know that would answer or anything. And at that moment, I said, but I need help. And I need help now. I have made just a crap show of my life. Obviously, I'm divorced. My mother's died. I got no money. I've lost everything. There is nothing. And I sensed an answer, as though like, go write something down is what I sensed. And so I grabbed it and I'm like, okay, whatever. And every day, so I got one step, and the first step was like, get up,
right.
Get up and know that I'm with you. And of course that did not comfort me. I'm like, yeah, okay, right. Whatever.
Okay. And what, right. And I know I really want to hear all the details. So I feel a little uncomfortable interrupting you, but I just want to say something to anybody that might be hearing this. Like, what I hear though, is that you were hardworking and smart and still in this place. Right. And I have not been in that exact same place, but have been in similar situations, single mom, divorced, 4 kids. How the heck there are moments that I can remember that have propelled me to what I'm doing now. And I remember thinking, like, what the heck? Like, what else can I be doing? Like, I'm working so hard. I do so many things for so many people. And I just wanted to say that to anybody that's listening to this, because it's not just the people that are sitting around going, well, I just don't want to work. Like, I'm homeless because I don't want to work at all. Right. Like, so I just wanted to to clarify that before you
Thank you.
continued your story, in case people
Yeah.
are listening to this thinking, well, I work really hard. Well, that doesn't mean you're not working really hard. You can still be in that same situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I worked 50, 60 hours a week. I was
Right.
very good at what I did. Very good. Made a very good income. And then all of a sudden overnight, everything was gone. Myself and others, included. But for me, that was just that moment of, I've got to do something different. Nothing that I'm coming up with is doing. If when I come up with it, it was falling apart at the moment. And so that started me on a journey of asking every day in prayer. I don't believe prayer is like, I'm just my litany, my list, right? It's
Mhm.
about listening for me. And that's what I learned. And it was, what is one spirit-led step that I can take today that will bring me to this goal that I have, which I call commitments, because I think goals are like New Year's resolutions. I think they're like a wish, it's like,
Right.
you're committed. But if you have a goal, who knows if you'll do it or not. But I was committed. Give me something. I don't know if I'm hearing. I don't know if I'm going crazy. I don't know what's happening, but I will do it. And favor falls on the follow through is what I found. Is this
Love that.
favor of when you are just moving through, give me one thing. Don't give me the 30,000-foot view. One thing in my business that I can focus on. And some people listening maybe go, does God really care about business? Is this just about making money? And it's not. It's about relationship. It's intimacy with a
Yes.
creator that created you to express through business, through life, through art, whatever it is. For me, it's business. Always has been.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So,
And God wants us to be servants, right? And we can be, first we have to fill our own cup so that we can help other people, right? So it's okay
yeah,
if money and cash and income is a part of our prayers, because we are able to help more people when we have first filled our own cup. So I firmly believe that that's all part and parcel of being able to serve.
that's right. That is absolutely right. And do you know there's over 2,000 scriptures about money, stewardship, and only 214 about salvation. Now, it doesn't mean that salvation is less
Interesting.
important, but it must have been somebody go, oh, it's a prosperity gospel or something. Well, it is the gospel. I don't know if it's prosperity or what, depending on what you're talking about at the moment. But it was important enough for 2,000 scriptures to be written about stewardship and about business and about money. So, when you ask those questions, though, that one step at the end of a year, you've got 365 steps. And that's what I did. I would just follow through, and it might be something silly. Call Aunt Sue, call Bob, go for a walk. And you're like, wait a
Mhm.
minute, that's nothing to do with, and he's like, yeah, it does. It's about
Yeah,
rest.
yeah, yeah.
You know? So fast forward, I think it was about a year of doing that and getting off my feet. I had some income start coming in again, and I knew that I wanted to coach other women so that they would never fall for this again. And when I say fall for this, like not be prepared for it.
Right.
And so I began coaching other women in business, and we did $1 million our first year, and it went up $1 million every year for 6 years. And then it plateaued at about 6.5. And
It was
that's,
amazing.
which is
And
amazing.
all of those women that were helped by that, by the way, too, is amazing.
Yes,
Not just that top line or of your numbers, but all of the women underneath that top line is who I see
exactly.
there, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds
And
and
we
hundreds of them.
500 a year. So we have thousands that have been through that, and the confidence and the level of just increase that they experienced was just absolutely radically amazing. And I never brought my faith into business. It was me, it was personal. And so, the 2 years in a row, but then as you and I talked about things shifted about 2 years ago, which
Mhm.
was really crazy.
Right, right. So tell us about that, because so now you've built this $6 million business, right? And it's doing $1 million a year, and you're serving all these people, and then you're shifting, right? How does that, like, we all hear, right? Like, it's, you want to go out on the top, right? But that takes a lot of courage,
Yes, yeah.
right? So tell us what happened.
So it was a little crazy. When you get used to hearing, then you hear and you're like, I know that favor falls on the follow through. So I'm going to do whatever and as long as things are going in the direction you want, it's all good. It's all fun and games. And it was a Saturday night, and I felt as though I heard in my spirit, I need you to close the doors of your coaching business. I was like, what? This is Satan if there ever was a Satan. I'm kidding. And
Right. Forget about like go for a walk. What? Right. Right.
yeah, I like those. Go for a walk, take a bubble
Right.
bath.
Right. Right.
And I said, well, I am not believing this. I need confirmation. I need something to come to me. And the
Right.
next day was a Sunday, and I had two people call me out of the blue. And one said, I hear that it was a team member. And she said, I hear I need to get another job. And I'm like, oh no. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then someone else said, I heard that you were thinking about closing the doors. I'm like, okay, this is too crazy. And I knew that there was something in my spirit that I wanted to do. I knew that I was at this moment in my life where I wasn't being fulfilled. I
Mhm.
was happy. I was happy with the company, but I wasn't fulfilled. There was a transition happening. And that was when I was 55. And so I'm like, is this another midlife crisis? What is happening?
Right.
And I just really felt like I wanted to teach people how to incorporate and partner with this God in building business, because I had done it all along. And I felt like he was saying, I need you to teach people to do what you did. And I'm like, yeah, but we're doing really, really well. So anyway, long story short, I did close it down. I found everybody in my company jobs within like a week. So
Wow.
everybody was handled. And here's the very cool thing, for that miracle money came out of the blue to the tune of 200,000 within 2 weeks time.
What? How? Tell us about that.
It makes no sense. So remember,
Never
okay,
does.
I
Right.
lost my home.
Hmm.
So it was a foreclosure.
Hmm.
And Bank of America writes me a letter and says, oh, we should have given you more notice. Here's a check for $93,000.
Wow.
I called the bank and said, is this a real check? I
Right.
don't,
Exactly. Exactly. Because I wouldn't have believed it either. I would have thought, if you sign it, you're right. Right.
this is fake.
Wow.
And I'm looking at that going, yeah, this is not real. And 2 days later, I can just feel it. I got another check for 85,000. So it was just under 200,000 from, and I'm trying to think it was who it was from. Wells Fargo. I had an RV. I had this motor coach, and I
Hmm.
just thought, oh, we're going to travel around the world, around the country, and I'm going to homeschool and blah blah blah. Anyway, so that defaulted on that. Same story. Oh, class action lawsuit, which I did not sign up for. I never signed up for it. Got that check. I called again and said, "Is this real?" And it was.
Wow.
And it was as though the hand of God came down and said, "Because you listened, I've got you, at least for the next, whatever bit
Wow.
of time." And so, yeah, that, that
That's
was
so
just like
cool.
crazy miracle money. And I've seen that in our clients since,
Yeah.
that it's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Well,
wow,
let me ask you something. I want to hear about
yeah,
where that took you. But, for me personally, here's where I struggle a little bit with that because I get the listening, you know what I mean?
yes,
Like for me, that is a lot of what meditation and prayer is to me is I like instead of me thinking or talking, I like need to be quiet and listen more. Like that's something that doesn't always come naturally to me, right?
yeah,
But sometimes I struggle with is it intuition or is it impulse? And
mm, yeah.
it's hard for me to trust it. So can you comment on that? Because I would love to know what your thoughts on that because I wish I could trust my intuition more than I feel like I can because sometimes I feel like it's impulse. Like I love this person, I'm going to hire them because I love them and really I just don't want to interview anybody else. You know what I mean? So is it really my intuition that is
Yeah,
saying this is a great person to hire or was it impulse because I'm too lazy to not lazy, but I don't really want to interview other people, right?
right.
So I personally struggle with that a little bit. So can you talk to that a little bit?
Absolutely, because I'm like you, I'm very impulsive, I'm very driven. I'm like, I'll make a decision right there, right on
Yep.
the moment, right in the moment. And when I heard close the doors, I wasn't impulsive about that. I did ask for confirmation, but here's what I found is when we think we don't know if it's God's voice or ours,
Hmm.
it is about the discipline of taking a moment and getting quiet. First of all, I want to listen, saying a prayer. I need your input, not mine. Shut down whatever it is that
Love
I'm
that.
thinking, whatever, because sometimes it's ego or it's like you said, it's just, I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
She's great. I'm going to hire her. And is there a feeling of peace? It's not necessarily like a magic 8 ball is yes or no. Should I hire her?
Right.
It,
Right.
it is a matter of Do I feel peace about this? The beautiful thing is when you are intently trying to follow what God is saying or you're sensing, he redeems the mistakes that we make. So let's say you did hire, it was impulse.
Right.
If you had stopped and said, hey, is this the right hire for me? And you feel peace around it. That's when I know it's God. When I feel a little bit of chaos and I can't get still and I can't, it's me
Okay.
because I'm still in the decision. I'm attached to the outcome.
Right.
If
Wow. That's interesting. I love that. Okay. So tell us, where did this all lead you?
So, so where it led me was that I launched Spirit Led Business. .org, but Spirit Led Business, and that is a mastermind where we take people who are in business or transitioning from corporate to mission, purpose, what their calling is. And I started doing called to make an impact workshops, and I saw just people exploding with joy and fulfillment. But yet, how do we take this forward and have the kind of success? And it is a partnership of what we know and bringing God's guidance into it. So we don't make necessarily a move without saying, okay, is this my next spirit led step? And so that's what we're doing today. We've been doing it for, I guess, a little over a year. And wow, it is just, I just got off that call before this one and just seeing the breakthroughs that people are having by doing this partnership, this intimacy, it really is co-creating
I
with God.
love that. Isn't that the best? We've made a lot of changes in our world to be more community based, because I think that is needed right now. And I love what we're seeing. And I sometimes say, like, I feel like I'm going to put my clients' pictures on my refrigerator, like my kids' report cards. When they have these huge wins, I feel like, like when they win, I win, right? That's a win for me too. So that's amazing. So you're running masterminds, and what's your vision for this? What's your vision for
Good
this
question.
for this
Yeah.
brand?
It's interesting because it was a vision given to me.
Mhm.
It wasn't one that I actually came up with, because
Right.
I would probably think I couldn't do it.
Right.
God's visions seems to be a little bit bigger than what we give ourselves credit for.
Mhm.
So the vision is that there would be in-person spirit-led business masterminds in every city, village, and town across the world. So it is spirit-led business is the name, but it's also Spirit-Led Business International. And that's why we do online and in-person masterminds. So I'm glad the delineation there. And we are just launching these ambassadors in these different cities around the world. And that is a very different dynamic. Like you said, Karen, it's about community.
Yeah.
We can't do this alone. After 2020, introvert, working at home,
Yeah.
introvert, but just very isolated. That's the
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
And we can do it, but we are striving and struggling and trying to by having a community that supports your belief of like-minded people, faith-based people.
Right.
And it's not just, it's Christian, but Christian has sometimes a rough connotation.
Right.
Obviously we are Christian, but it is for everybody. And anybody that believes that there's a creator that wants to partner with them, and that, to build these things for the kingdom to make an impact. Impact is the number one thing. And I always tell everyone, go for impact first. Impact equals income. In this
Yes. Yes.
economy,
Yes.
impact is number one,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, and I remember maybe a year or two ago, it was the end of the year, and we had our group Zoom call for my
Right.
community. And I kind of went around and I asked everybody, like, what's your vision for next year? What's your big goals for next year? And I let everybody go before I pointed this out. And not one single person had a monetary goal. Every single person had an impact goal. Every
Yes.
single person. Now, of course, they have monetary goals. I am always pushing them. Like like the question that they were like, where's the money, comes out of my mouth 25 times a day. Like, I love
Yes.
that you're doing all this. Where's the money? You need cash to fund your big dreams, right?
Yes. Right.
But I loved, I'm like, did you guys all notice that? Like, not one of you said, and this is going to be my $1 million year. Everybody said, and you know what? I need more horses to be, to be healthy, or more children to be fed, or more whatever, and that is at the heart of what we do. Now, we do need, I believe, we do need the money to be able to. Big dreams takes a lot of cash, and
Yes.
it's there for us. It's there for us. Um, so it's interesting because this is not, I'm using the word triggering, but triggering is not the right word, but this is
Mhm.
triggering me a little bit to where do I stand with all of this? Because I do have a very strong spiritual foundation in everything that I do. Not as much God as it is spiritual, but I do believe
Yeah.
in God. And so as I listen to all of this, it's making me wonder if if maybe I need to be a little bit, or it would be interesting to test if I was a little bit more intentional with the spirit led work
Yeah.
that I do around that's the spirit itself. But also, you know, I think that I do think that the world is coming to a place where we are understanding that there's something more than just us, that
Yeah.
what we can see and what we can feel and taste and touch, that is at play in a lot of what we do. And I love the more people I talk to that are tapping into that, I think the better our planet, the better it is for our planet, in
And
general.
the question right now, Karen, is who am I called to impact? Like
Right.
I have all these things and I'm a little over here and over there and whatever. And it's like, no, let's bring it in.
Hmm.
Who are we called to impact? What
Right.
outcome? How are we impacting them? And then
Right.
how do we build that? And that's
Right.
really what the
Right.
mission is. Um,
So
yeah.
can I ask, what is one thing that maybe you are bringing from your $1 million a year, $6 million Inc. 500 world to this new world that you think is going to make the most impact
Wow.
on you growing this?
Yeah, so it is doing the one thing every day, asking what the one thing, and that
Yeah.
is hands down. It was $6 million a year, and so when the number one way that I say we. It's funny, my team is still with me. They took that time and then they came back.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
that was kind of cool.
That
Uh,
says a lot.
with me like 7 years, and yeah, I think it says a lot. But we're bringing all the tools, the skills of how we built that business and we're incorporating it with, okay, Lord, what is the one thing? God,
Hmm.
creator, Holy Spirit, whatever.
Right. Right.
Tell me the one thing. And you have this, instead of you trying to do everything and losing your way, you will get the one thing and you do
Right.
that, but you combine it with wisdom in business. And he brings the money to pour back in. He's the one that is like, you can surrender things and it will happen faster than you ever imagined because
Yeah.
you have let go of control.
Yeah.
And like you said, like we talked about earlier, attachment.
Yeah. 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 Well, and as somebody that understands that, and I have seen the miracles of surrendering personally, right?
Oh,
So as somebody that understands that, and also as somebody that's like, what do I do to make this happen? It's a,
right.
it's at,
It is
it's
the
at
same,
odds, right?
right?
Like,
Yeah,
so it's something that I certainly have to work at.
we
But
all-
let me ask you this. So if this message is resonating for, somebody that's listening right now, what advice do you have for them as they do their one thing or take their next step or step into a new chapter in their life and their
yeah,
business?
I'll tell you, it is hard to stay congruent if you don't have a community around you. You're resonating with it. You're like, okay, I'm going to get more spiritual. And I am going to ask, what's the one thing? And then I'm going to follow through with that one thing, which are all great tips I'm going to tell
Hmm.
you,
Hmm.
to doing it. But we lose steam about 5 days in,
Hmm.
maybe a month in, if you're lucky. This isn't a devotion time. It's very, very different. So I would say find people in your area that are faith-based, that believe that God still speaks today, that it didn't end in the Old Testament, and that they can support you in this business journey
Okay.
that you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how can you help people with this as they step into this?
Yeah. So I started to say, when we coach our clients, we always say, if we're not being spirit led, what are we doing?
Mhm.
Because you're a spirit, you're a human being. And if I am not listening to God for you, then I'm just following, I'm just doing what everybody else is doing and struggling and striving and trying to get to the top and no real purpose. And I can't figure it out. So what we do is we do have online and in-person masterminds that people can be a part of. We just launched the in-person, so we don't have very many in-person ambassadors on the ground, but our online masterminds are for this. And it is a call every week with me, and it's only $47 a month.
Nice.
This is a mastermind like I paid thousands of dollars for. Like, but there is something that we are building, and that's trust and it's value.
Beautiful.
And then you can build from there. And so that's
what if they want to just get a taste of what you're doing before they step into your mastermind? How can they do that?
I do have like a 21 days of reflection. It's a journal that's on Amazon, but you don't have to buy it. I'll give you 21 days.
Awesome. You'll send it to me. We'll put a link in the show notes on how you can grab that. Send it to me. Okay,
spiritledbusiness.org/journal.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay. spiritledbusiness.org/journal.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll grab that. That's awesome. So what's next? So you're building these masterminds. That's a lot. So as I say, what is next? It doesn't have to be something next, but is there something next? Is there something that you haven't talked about that's coming next as you move into the new year?
Well, there's always something next. He always says, I am writing the book. It's you guys are going to get tired of hearing it. Spirit-led business, a move of God in the marketplace.
Okay.
So that book.
Oh, I love that. I love.
Yep.
I love that.
And I'm trying to think of what else. Retreats, of course. I love retreats and bringing people together to experience it in person.
Yeah, and I'm just going to put a little PSA out there. If you're listening to this, it's worth investing in this stuff for yourself. A lot of women, especially, they don't I don't know, they know they need to invest in themselves, but they need a little push. If you need permission, this is it. This is your permission. Invest in a retreat for yourself, invest in education for yourself, invest in mentoring for yourself. And the one thing I really want to point out about this whole conversation today is, Karen really is leaning into what makes her unique and what makes her different. And are there people out there that are going to say, that's not for me? There are. But you know what? I know there's more people that are going to say, I've been waiting for somebody to talk about this. I was waiting for somebody to be aligned with what I believe. So if you're not aligned with this, that's okay. There'll be somebody else that you are aligned with. But if you are, it's almost like a star or a magnet. It's part of the magnet that I talk about, right? Like I want you to be magnetic. And the more you talk about what you stand for, that's different and confident than other people, the more you're drawing those right people to you. So I love that you're doing that, Karen, in the work that you're doing, and you're drawing the people that have been waiting for this to you.
Yeah, it was very vulnerable for me, as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah. I bet. I said earlier, what a lot of courage it had to take to make this shift and to make this change.
For anybody listening, be bold. Be authentic.
Yeah, and be okay with, it's funny because, you talked about your background in real estate, and I often, I do a lot of work with LinkedIn and real estate. I don't know why more real estate agents don't use LinkedIn because they just don't. And it's where their database lives. They understand the power of their database. But what's interesting is they all want to sound like a sign painting, sage waving, feng shui doing real estate agent in your community. Please put that on your LinkedIn profile, because there's going to be a few people that say, I don't think so. But somebody else is going to go, oh, that's exactly what I need. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I need. So they're so afraid to not be in that same middle ground where they sound and look like everybody else. But it's when you step outside of that, when people say, I'm looking for a reference, I know exactly who to send you to if you've given me enough to let me know where you're different than other people. So I love what you're doing, Karen. And I love that hopefully you're giving confidence for other people to do the same kind of thing in their business.
Yes, come on, let's make a move in the marketplace. Let's do it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. This has been great. I'm looking forward to your book. I am definitely going to be checking out more of the work that you're doing. And I really appreciate you taking time to hang out with me today and giving us all this good stuff.
Loved it very much. Good girls get rich. Come on.
Yeah. And really at the heart of that is just do what you're good at. Tell us what you're good at. Let your freak flag fly. And that's where the money comes.
Absolutely.
That's where the riches come into your life in many different
Yeah.
forms. Thank you so much for being here. We will, if you're looking for more help with the work that Karen's doing, we'll have all the links in the show notes on how to reach out to Karen and how to connect with her. And of course, you can always connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can always, grab a spot on my calendar. There's all kinds of places on LinkedIn, ways that you can learn how to work with me. And, I'd love to hear from you. So thank you again, Karen, for being here today. And for you that's listening, I'll see you back here next week.